as most of you know, this past Friday, us in the community got the treat of seeing a lot of gameplay from Kingdom Hearts 3, as many YouTubers were invited along with many outlets such as IGN and GameSpot. While I didn't get my hands-on experience with the game, which I am so salty about, I can still give my own impressions on what I saw. I do have some things I'm curious about, a lot that I like about, and a few critiques to hand out too. And hey, apparently they're watching our Cage videos, or at least some in the community, so maybe they'll see this. Then again, I don't think I'll be the best at analyzing this stuff, but who cares, I'm gonna still share my thoughts anyways. Let's get this right off the bat. The game looks fun as hell. I am very excited for it. But outside of that, that looks like the demos pretty much were two different areas. One being a small area for Olympus Coliseum where they pretty much do the Rock Titan fight that we've been seeing in almost every trailer. And then the second half is pretty much a more open world based experience where they walk around the Toy Story land, which apparently is only 30% of what the actual world or area is going to be like, so we don't get the full experience of it or see the full experience of it. But even with 30%, that seems like a lot that's going on in there. Either way, truthfully, the game looks honestly at par with or better than almost any other game in the series, just by watching gameplay and seeing it. Not inherently a gameplay aspect, but all the pieces put together, which I'll get more into in a bit. There are slight concerns I do have on the side of combat, but overall nothing I can see so far that would truly impede my enjoyment of the game. Just smaller things that I feel have improved to make the game feel so much better, or a decent amount better, and make more sense combat-wise. Again, I may not have played the demo, but I can still see things that are going on with the combat that you could judge, and I mean, we've been doing that for the past 4 or 5 years based off trailers. So I'm gonna get out of the way my thoughts on the worlds and aesthetics before we get into the more analytical points with the combat. So, first thing, I like the running on the walls aspect that we see in the Olympus Coliseum part, which also expands over into probably, I'd say, the rest of the game. It adds a nice new way of traversing the world that seems like it works pretty damn smoothly. It takes us away from more of the chaotic form of flow motion that we saw in Dream Drop Distance. While that was fun, it had its issues with kind of being hard to control at times, which flow motion is still in the game, just at a much smaller and weaker form. And I'd say some of the animations could probably be a little smoother when running up the wall, kind of going side to side. It seems like going from straight on and then turning seems like it's a little fast, and probably control-wise could be a little better, but again, I can't tell how exactly it feels. I just say the animation looks a little quick, but nothing really that big of a deal. Otherwise, the Rock Titan battle looks pretty damn cool and fun, but I'd say it's more of a spectacle than anything. The battle starts out with you running up to the Titan by running on the wall and dodging stones and stuff, but when you get to the actual boss, it kind of works the same way as how we did in Kingdom Hearts 1, with a little more, I'd say, depth to him and kind of nuance, not really nuance, but it's more interesting visually, and just the experience is more intense than that of the Kingdom Hearts 1 tournament fight. And I'd say the whole battle is more of a spectacle than any sort of a challenge, because in the end you kind of just go around with the giant murdering train and shoot fireworks at them. I love murdering things that bring people joy, which is not to say the boss battle's bad inherently, it's just not going to be much of a challenge if you're looking for that here. And past that, that's about all we get for that world. It's just a pre-battle before it with some Heartless, and then we get the main battle with the Titan. There might be more to it in the actual game, but as of here, it's kind of streamlined and not much there. But when we go to the Toy Box world, that's when things really open up. That's when we get to like a fun playground journey where we go through their house and then the toy store. And from what I've known, there are a ton of Easter eggs that are hidden inside this toy box, with some meta jokes and some funny little dialogue and moments that you can find while traversing around the world. I know some people are kind of having issues saying the world's empty and boring, which, one, it's a demo, so every option is not going to be open, and even then, I'd say there still looks like there's a lot to look for and discover even in this demo. You get to travel through the vents and play around with the fans while fighting. Again, I can't get the full scale of what the world is because we don't get to see all the gameplay walking around in there, so we can't get the full scope of things. But again, it's only 30% of the world, so there may be a lot more when going into the game. Especially there might be NPCs added to this world, which from what I can tell there aren't any at this time, but they've pretty much hinted that there will be NPCs in all the other worlds, especially we've already seen some backstage stuff for Tangled. Now I'm looking forward to some puzzles that they will hopefully add in this world, because we've also seen different puzzle-like aspects in the other worlds, kind of, and also in 0.2 they've had puzzles, and that can also be seen as a slight demo and hint at what will be in Kingdom Hearts 3. But they also probably didn't open up a lot of this stuff because they didn't want people to get stuck in the side stuff, or like these puzzles, or things that could take a little longer when they're playing apparently an hour-and-a-half demo, so they didn't want people to really get lost in these areas, and they wanted them to get to the final boss of the world. And also, it's probably set on an easy difficulty or a normal difficulty, so same thing, so people don't keep dying over and over again, and they can get through the demo. So it's hard to really take a lot of the difficulty aspects of this demo into consideration, because things are probably a lot easier than there will be in the actual release. I mean, you have a ton of health here, you have slightly less health during the Rock Titan fight than you do here, but either way, I'm pretty sure you won't have that much health all the time. And you're also only level 4, I think I saw somebody level up in this world, so the levels also, I don't think, really back things up, because the abilities you have in the Rock Titan aren't nearly the same as what you do here, so they're slightly different. But there's one thing I do hope they bring back for almost every world, pretty much, and that's something from a 0.2, which is kind of small, but having those objectives to where you go do certain things in the world, where you then get pieces of like your outfit to add on to Aqua, I thought that was really cool. I like having little side things or side missions to do. Even when you don't think there's much to do in the world, you can go do these other things, or if you finish everything in the world, you can do these side objectives and get different items. I like completing objectives. It's fun for me. Give me a list of chores to do and I'll do them. I think that's kind of fun. And they also just give you a reason to kind of go around the world, especially if you add missions where you have to go to different areas of the map to do things, and it's just a good way of exploring the map if you haven't gone everywhere yet, or it introduces you to different areas, or maybe even Easter eggs that you can find. So I really hope they give us little side objectives to do. And now on to the aesthetics. As we can all see, as of now, the style of the game is decently different, being a lot more Disney than Final Fantasy, and whether or not you like that change or not, it's hard to deny that this game is beautiful and full of detail. It's colorful, atmospheric, and thanks to the beautiful shadowing and lighting, the characters and the models have come a long way from looking like melting wax, and the Disney characters look almost picture perfect. Just running around the world, you can see the love and detail placed in every room. For this one reason, and with the added NPCs, I put this above many of the other games. I love beautiful worlds, detail, atmosphere that much, and this game as of now truly delivers on that. Also, we don't have text boxes anymore, which is a welcome addition. Instead, we get fully voiced seamless talks, but music-wise, we get a few nice new remixes and a dope rendition of You Got a Friend in Me, in which, oof, that one got me real good. I believe there were 1 or 2 new songs, I think, but I do hope the OST is largely new, even though I do like remixes, but I still would love some brand new music for this new OT, most of it. Also, they do seem to be doing something a little different with the music at certain situations, such as summons or links. They seem to have their own personal song that goes with them, such as Arrow's summon has the music for the whole world, which is a nice little touch. Also, VA work for the most part. The cast of Toy Story sounds good, and they are obviously not the original cast, because I think especially Tom Hanks would be a hard buy. But Woody sounds a little off, but aside from that, they sound pretty good, and thank God for Sora sounded good. Thank God. He doesn't sound like his KH2 Sora, but that's fine. I wouldn't expect him to. It's been a while, but he sounds so much better than he did in Dream Drop Distance, which is all I asked for. Also, apparently, I'm not sure how many original voice actors are going to get from like the movies, but I just found out that apparently Mike and Sully are getting different voice actors, which again, not surprised. I can't. Billy Crystal, I really doubt those big names are going to come back to the game, but I mean, they've gotten some of them before, so But yeah, I've never actually heard of these 2 new guys, so hopefully they do well. Hopefully we get some of the original voice actors for the cast in any of the worlds back. That would be nice. But overall, voice acting so far is pretty good, especially Sora, and I can welcome that. And also, the aesthetics of the world are honestly just incredible. It's really amazing to see Kingdom Hearts coming to the current generation of gaming, and it looks absolutely gorgeous. And now, let's get to the combat, or with slight concerns. I will say, there are a lot of options. This is something that has actually kind of had me slightly worried since the beginning almost, especially when we found out about all these abilities that Sora's going to get. There seems to be almost overwhelming options for what Sora can do. As of now, I'll say that's a slight concern, as in I don't know how often or how important a lot of these abilities will be in comparison to others. I've never really been a huge fan of attraction flow. It just kind of seems unneeded. We already have summons that can do similar things. They're just things you bring into the world and then they do a different sort of attack. That's pretty much what attraction flow is. I'm not really sure how needed it is, but I mean, they're cool and pretty to look at. But either way, the overwhelming aspect to it, I think, is going to kind of fade over time, because once you start playing the game, you're going to gradually get these things. In the demo, they're handed almost everything right off the bat. I'm not sure how about literally everything, but a lot of the things they have aren't going to be there when we first get the game. So you get the game, you have these certain abilities, and as time goes on, you get new abilities, and then it gets to the point of the game where you have all this powerful stuff. It's like playing a KH2 demo at the very end of the game. You have all these abilities and all this stuff to do, and it's kind of overwhelming at the time. So I don't think that's an inherent flaw. It's just more concerning about what you can do with these abilities that you have. Because Osaka, as we can tell, is a bit showy when it comes to combat. They love showing things off and making everything look pretty. And they are great at that, I'll tell you that. But the big thing is about balance. Whether each of these abilities will have a purpose outside of just doing damage. The summons seem good. I like the summons. Wreck-It, whew, my boy Wreck-It Ralph in the game. Obviously, we're not going to get a world, but still, at least he's represented. He's got a cool looking summoner. Link is what they're calling it now, which he can create these blocks that shine down light and it stuns the enemies. And then his final thing is he can smash the blocks and they destroy things. It's a nice, unique, different way to have a summon. Having these links and having attraction flow. What's the real difference, especially when there's different ways that we can bring them into the world? We already have a ton of abilities. We have the shot locks, we have the summons or links, we have the attraction flow, we have the transformations, we have the Keyblade transformation. There's just so much going on here, and it's balancing it out is going to be more concerning part later on. But the main thing I'd say I have slight concerns with is how we bring attraction flows into the world. Links, you build up a gauge, or I guess it's off of MP. I believe I remember Ariel summoning in it, your MP goes away. It's like, okay, that's fine. It's not using a drive gauge like they did in Kingdom Hearts 2, which perfectly fine, makes sense. But now we have these two new actions, which is basically the limit, which is completely random from what I can tell and from what everybody else can tell. Nobody seems to have a real idea about how these limits are activated, such as you have Rocket Ruckus with Woody and Buzz. It just appears. Sometimes it's based off a hit, sometimes it just kind of appears out of nowhere. You just do it. I'm hoping that's going to be just for the demo. It happens every once in a while just to show it off. Because when it comes to if you're trying to have some sort of strategic effect on the battle and playing things out, having this just randomly appear is kind of strange. And why is it that one and not a command or limit with Donald and Goofy? I'm going to chalk this up to be something part of the demo, and it wants you to play with these different things. And then the other one is the attraction flows. They have more purpose in understanding how they come to being. Every once in a while when you get a combo or hit somebody, a emblem will appear on an enemy. You hit the enemy or do enough damage to the enemy, and then you get a certain attraction flow, which the attraction flow in general I believe is random. I thought it was based off what area you're in, but then I saw somebody have two different attraction flows in the same area. So I don't know, that's also another strange decision on that part. But then you don't know exactly what triggers that emblem to attach to an enemy. It just kind of happens. Sometimes it's at the end of the combo, sometimes it's part of a two-hit combo, sometimes it's just completely random and you go into a form and some enemy will have the emblem on them. It's kind of hard to plan around that if you don't know when it happens, and the fact that you get a random attraction flow, it seems like. So those are the main two big concerns for the planning or strategizing. They just seem kind of random. Seems like that's a big concern I've noticed with everybody talking, is that is one of the things. So hopefully everybody will point that out, they'll do something about it, or maybe they'll make things more clear on how it activates. They even have an explanation sort of for the attraction flow, which is still kind of vague. But then we get probably the most annoying thing I'd say in a lot of these games, and in general just video games, is the camera. If a camera's bad, it's kind of annoying. And we're going back to the Birth by Sleep camera, it seems like. I don't know why they don't go back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 camera. It's kind of odd why they don't, because it's probably the best camera they've had. Maybe they don't see the flaw with this, even though almost everybody points it out, or a lot of people point it out, it seems like. But this camera doesn't focus on you as the player, it focuses on the enemy. So you can just run in the foreground while you're just staring at the enemy. It seems like a great idea to keep an eye on your enemy, but you might want to keep an eye on your person or your character, because that's what you're controlling, that's how you're attacking. So it's going to be a lot more inaccurate if your character's off in the foreground, even if you're looking at your enemy. Where a Kingdom Hearts 2 camera focuses on you pretty much. Yes, it can go off a little to the right or left, but it always goes right back to you when playing, which makes everything a lot easier. So, not a huge fan of the camera. I'm not really sure how much they can do to fix that at this point in time. A camera system seems pretty technical, but hopefully they can tighten it up if enough of us point it out. But overall, a lot of these concerns, I'd say, are kind of hard to fully gauge because, well, aside from the camera, because we don't know how the menu system or the skill system works. We don't know if it's going to be like Kingdom Hearts 2 and Kingdom Hearts 1 where we can equip and unequip abilities. I know some people were kind of panicking, or not panicking, but they were worried about the finisher for Sora right now. I'm not really sure what exactly the finisher is called, but he shoots up, he points his Keyblade in the air, and I assume it's an area effect attack, and it bursts out. Okay, it's a pretty slow finisher, truly. But luckily, we can also dodge right out of it. It seems like pretty damn quickly. Also, we have blocking in the air. Beautiful, amazing. Glad they added that. But in accordance to that finisher, we may be able to introduce a new finisher in there. We may be able to unequip that finisher and put something else on. As for the limits, we may be able to equip our own limits that we want to have on at a time. That's why we get Rocket Ruckus instead of something else from Donald and Goofy. Maybe it just really depends on what you have equipped and what you don't have equipped. We can't tell, and it's hard to gauge everything at this point. And maybe things will be explained in the menus. Either way, we don't know everything at this point. But those are just some concerns I think most of us have pointed out, or many people have pointed out at this time. I think it'll be fine. Again, either way, outside the technical stuff, the game looks fun as hell to play. These things I've mentioned really won't take that much away from it. The only one is maybe the camera could get a little annoying, but hell, it looks great to play and it looks gorgeous. The combat is still quick and very snappy from what I can tell. Even in comparison to 0.2, I think the combat looks very quick. I've seen some great combos. I know I was watching Dean's gameplay of it, and he seemed shocked by it, but one of the combos was so damn fast and impressive, and the transformations going into second form seems incredible. But I hear that apparently after you finish one of the combos, if you do like Ars Arcanum, apparently you go right out of the form. But think about it, I can understand that, because you seem to be able to get these forms pretty damn fast just by completing the 3-4 hit combo. And also, the best Keyblade is the Corona Keyblade. Can't remember the name of it, but that one has a great transformation. Looks just like pretty much what Wisdom Form is. You pretty much glide around and you use mystical magic, and you don't use your own magic. You use flower power magic, I guess, and shoot laser beams and murder things, and then you build a giant tower and murder things with light. But still, it looks great. It looks fun. Not perfect, but I didn't really expect it to be perfect. Things are gonna be tightened up. That's the whole point of a demo. Oh yeah, big news. Apparently next month, early month, what a surprise actually. We're gonna get the release date for Kingdom Hearts 3 next month. I mean, I kind of expected it. We all kind of expected it. E3. Big stuff. But what do y'all think of this demo gameplay? I know there's a lot to talk about from it, but I want to know what y'all think about it. Do y'all disagree with what I'm saying in this demo? Do you think everything I say is crap? Do you think the game looks horrible? Are you offended that you weren't invited to the demo? I know I am. Also, tell me if y'all want me to do an analysis in depth of all this. I'll do it of the trailer released by Kingdom Hearts, because I'm not going to sift through everybody's stuff. I might mention things from other people's gameplay, but I'm not going to sift through and pick out all their stuff. That would take way too long. But tell me if y'all want me to do an analysis. The reason I'm not doing it right off the bat, because that's a lot of gameplay to sift through, and analysis take a long time, and I've got other things I need to do. But let me know if you want to do it, then I'll see about it. I'll see about it. Otherwise, thanks for watching. My name's Arcane Keyblade, and I will see you all next time. Peace out.